Sustainable Ōtautahi Christchurch, Joyce Yager. Kia ora, welcome.
Thank you. Tēnā koutou katoa, thanks for having me. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about our submission, which we're happy to do because this climate strategy is very important to us. We think it's inextricably linked to the long-term plan, and we hope it can be at the front of your minds and of real importance as you make decisions related to the long-term plan. SOC commends the Christchurch City Council for its goals around reducing our city's contribution to the global carbon emissions, and strongly supports the principles listed in this strategy. The fundamental framework is very good, and we need an action plan to go with it that includes tangible steps towards the goals that have been set. We need the Council to show real leadership and act boldly, in line with their 2019 declaration of a climate and ecological emergency. Strong targets and principles have real power when there is a clear pathway to achieve them. SOC feels that the Council's sustainable procurement policy could play a larger role in minimizing Council's own carbon emissions and could encourage others to take action. The Council and CCHL have an opportunity to greatly reduce the city's emissions by setting emissions expectations for contractors. For example, you can require large contractors to have in-house sustainability officers and environmental policies, which could then lead to more businesses placing a higher importance on environmental issues and outcomes. We also feel that any carbon offsetting that takes place should be within Canterbury and with native plants from local plant stock. When increasing tree cover across the city, native species should be used preferentially for their biodiversity benefits and because they are better adapted to local conditions and fire resistance. This will require planning and resourcing to make sure the quantity and quality of plants needed are available. Christchurch City Council already has an excellent biodiversity-aware staff, especially in the Park Ranger Service. Their expertise and willingness to partner effectively with the community is a positive feature of Council, and we thank you for this and look forward to supporting you in this excellent work. We would like to see more checks and balances related to climate impact incorporated into decision-making, particularly with developers. Developers should have to make climate impact reports on each development, as well as their company overall. For example, this should include the impact of developments on our food security in the face of climate crisis. We know that the protection of elite soils, or those 5% of our soils that are best for growing food, which are lost once they're developed on, is important for food protection in the future. The need to critically assess where housing should be located goes beyond the need to produce food in a climate change future. All climate impacts and the wider needs of the community and our natural world need to be considered before we build. Climate change and the long-term plan require forward thinking that goes beyond developers' bottom lines in the next few years. And it's also very important that Ngāi Tahu and Tangata Whenua play a major role in these discussions. Climate change needs to be embedded in all of Council's public messaging. SOC also hopes the Christchurch City Council can use the 10-minute city lens in its decision-making, which partners well with a robust climate change strategy. Since transport makes up more than 50% of our city's emissions, redesigning and reconfiguring our city to favor more walking, cycling, and public transport is essential. The dominance of cars, car parking, and roads needs to be reconsidered, and we hope the global conversations happening in this space can be central in Ōtautahi Christchurch. Christchurch City Council is in a great position to lead on many of these discussions, working within the Greater Christchurch Partnership and supported by people in our community that are already discussing and working toward these changes. SOC believes this must include rail for our region and are encouraged by the discussions at every level that are exploring railway options. We also hope that transitioning from petrol to electric vehicles is viewed as a transitional phase rather than a long-term solution. When we use a 10-minute lens, other options can be better appreciated. For example, e-bikes are becoming more and more of a feature here as they are used by more people. Building cycleway infrastructure makes the change to increase cycling much quicker, and we congratulate you on the vision you are showing in establishing the cycling network. It's also important that the cycling infrastructure can be viewed as safe to use from the community, particularly for children. We would also love to see additional secure bike parking, such as the Locky Docks that have recently gone in more locations in the CBD and in suburban areas. Ensuring secure and free bike parking for everyone is one small example of an action that can help us make sustainable transport more accessible and help Christchurch meet our long-term climate change goals. We do not support the building of Terrace Airport. Instead, we encourage the building of a low-cost passenger train to central Otago, which over the long term would be a better use of resources and help us achieve our long-term climate goals. It would also have the added benefit of hopefully taking cars off the road and improving roadway safety for all of us. We want my generation and the generations growing up now and transitioning into adulthood to feel proud of Ōtautahi Christchurch and to be secure in their future. Christchurch has an opportunity to lead Aotearoa and the world in transitioning into a climate change and biodiversity conscious future, and we encourage Christchurch City Council to boldly implement concrete actions to achieve the goals laid out in the climate change strategy.
That was perfectly timed. Thank you very much for your submission.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.